and welcome to the Unhinged History Podcast, the podcast where two compulsive, absolute, unhinged maniacs without knives join forces and tell each other history stories we've only recently learned. I'm host one, I'm Theresa, and that,
I'm Angie. I have a string cheese and I'm host too.
yeah, could you wait until after your intro before you inject cheese into your mouth?
I can't. It's part of the show.
I'm glad this is an audio podcast and you've introduced eating.
Aren't you so
I
excited?
can't wait for this next rash of reviews because they will be a rash.
Well,
Yeah, good
good
times.
news is good news, or what is that? Good. Any publicity is good publicity.
Sure, it is now. It is now. Um, I believe I went first last week when we covered the Great Madison Butter Fire of 1991.
Yeah, you did. I just checked.
So I
But
think I'm going to go back to doing some needlework and listening to you regale me with whatever it is you choose to tell me.
I'm just asking ahead of time. Do you need a palate cleanser?
Good question. No, I don't actually. This time I
Wow.
am pretty stinking good.
Okay. Well, I'm in. So- I am so excited to tell you my story. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna come out the gate with a quote from Scotland Yard, and then I will tell you my sources.
I know that we're on different centuries because of the conversation we had in text yesterday, but I do have Scotland Yard in mine as well.
That is awesome. I'm so excited. Are you ready for my quote?
Go,
Of course
bring
you are.
it.
Never mind. Okay. On Monday, this is the quote from Scotland Yard. On Monday, the 21st of October, we received a report of the theft of a large quantity of cheese from a manufacturer based in Southwark. Inquiries are ongoing into the circumstances
This is a recent quote.
from
Okay.
2024.
Oh, from 2024.
My
Okay.
sources.
Okay.
63-year-old man arrested in UK cheese heist. NPR by Rachel Trisman and Juliana Kim. This is November of 2024. Um, and just for the headline, the Great Cheese Robbery. Man arrested after 24 tons of cheese totaling $390,000 is stolen in London by Gabriella Rudy from October 24. That
Question,
was an NBC
interrupting cow
headline.
question. Um,
Go.
did you choose this story because you're like, what great cheese events occurred?
So this has been on my list probably since April when I heard about the cheese heist and was laughing so hard last week when you were talking about the cheese fire.
Because
Like
you
the great
realized that I could have easily jumped in and taken the cheese heist from you.
easily. And I was like, I gotta go. But then I laughed even harder when I realized we were discussing how there's not enough greats anymore. So I am giving you the Great Cheese Robbery. However, it is not Great, it is Grate because again, we have a sense of humor, and so does the
Ah,
press. The
okay.
Great Cheese Robbery of 24. Um, my other sources are the Neal's Yard heist when luxury cheese is being targeted by criminals. That is from the BBC. It is also from November of 24. And an Al Jazeera article by Dwayne Oxford, October 24. The Great Cheese Heist, who stole $390,000 of cheese. All right. There is also a really delightful article in here from The Dairy Herd by Taylor Leach, which was just out in August of this year. And apparently, The Dairy Herd is like the foremost authority on dairy information coming out of the UK. Okay,
Well, you
so
heard it here.
I was like, okay, I didn't know that was a thing. So this is the 2024 UK theft of tens of tons of Premier cheese, which happened to be a very wonderfully sophisticated scam. So basically, Here's the story. Sometime between June and July of 2024, a dairy farmer called Patrick Holden, he gets an email from a purchaser for this French supermarket chain, and this guy wants to buy 22 tons of his Hafford cheese. This happens to be the cheese that Holden specializes in. Like, this is his jam, right? This is a award-winning cloth-bound artisan cheese that comes sealed in a layer of lard that is then aged for 18 months. This cheese is so special that it comes with like its own serial number. A quick Google search basically describes the tags that are attached to these cheeses as, quote, cheese tags for artisanal wheels are crucial
Artisanal?
identifiers. Yeah, artisanal wheels are crucial identifiers acting like ID cards that track the production, like date, batch, facility for cheesemakers. They are often used using food safe casing labels that stick to the rind, and then or
Okay.
they're printed paper or plastic tags with all the batch number info on them that's like just attached to the wheel of cheese. Um, Brown Percival, who is a buyer at Neil's Dairy, who I'll mention again in just a few minutes, says this cheese is, quote, one of the most special cheeses being made in the UK. And I just think that is hilarious that there's like a conversation about this. Now, for Holden, the cheese man, this is a big deal. This is the biggest order he has ever received. To the point that Holden remembers thinking, because this order supposedly comes from France, his thought is, quote, finally people on the continent are appreciating what we do. And I would just like to take a second to acknowledge the fact that the English still call the mainland the continent.
But see, that makes sense to me. You know what I
It
mean?
does. I had just never really thought about it before. Like you hear about it in like Downton Abbey, like we should take her to the continent. But like I didn't realize we're still saying that.
This feels weird to me because this would be like the French calling me and saying, "Hey, that bubbled wine that you make, we want to import a vat of it." Like, but
Yeah,
you want my stuff in the land of
your
the
stuff.
stuff?
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's kind of how Holden's feeling about it, but he's also like, wow, they're really recognizing what our specialties are here. That's great. Now, an order this big is made through Neil's Dairy Yard or Neil's Yard Dairy, which is, quote, an upmarket cheese seller and wholesaler. Now, Neil's Yard collects these specialty cheeses throughout the summer since the order's placed. And I should say that it wasn't just the Haverford cheese, it was several specialty cheeses. There's Westcombe cheddar, Pitchfork cheddar, and of course then the Haverford.
Of
Now,
course, of
all of
course.
these, of
You
course,
said that like, of course.
of course. All of these, they are special, as I've mentioned before, they come from small batch enterprise like the Holden's family. And besides him, there are two other dairy farmers that this prize will call is being sourced from. So it's a huge order, and it's all three of the dairy farmers that are being sourced from. This is like the biggest order they've ever had, and also the most um, crippling order they could have, because in order to fulfill this order, they're taking out their entire stock because of how long it takes to produce this cheese, right? So like it's
Okay.
a thing. So, according to the BBC, the first batch of Halford arrived at its London base in September. It takes up 1 square meter on a pallet, but represents 2 years of effort and had the wholesale value of £35,000 or $46,000 in cheese. In total, the amount of cheese that's requested is between 20 and 22 tons, which equals out to be about 24 US tons. I didn't realize that tons were a difference, but they are.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Um,
American. We got to do everything.
uh, right, of course we do. And total, that's roughly between that tonnage of cheese is going to be about 300,000 pounds, which is like $395,000. So it's it's a lot of cheese money. By October 14th, they've collected all the cheese and it's ready to leave Neil's Dairy Yard. It's all packed up, it's taken by courier to a depot, and then gone. Nothing. It's vanished. And they don't know where it went. Not a clue. You would be shocked to learn that there is no real order, and by October 21st, payment has unsurprisingly not showed up because, of course, it won't.
Okay, but they, okay. Um, Small problem.
Go.
Typically, you get an order, you say half down, half at fulfillment.
You would think that, because I thought that too. And in one of the sources, I don't quote it, but in one of the sources, they talk about how in the cheese world, there is a lot of trust and faith put in each other. So I feel like they were never, the thought of even ever being duped was never in their mind because the supplier that this individual called from is one of the most renowned in Europe. So why wouldn't they be trusted? So I don't think a half down, half on delivery thing ever even went through their mind. However, I'm sure it does now.
Right?
So the buyer that made the request for all the cheese that placed such a large order is, of course, a fake, a faux, a fraud, a phony, right? All of the things.
A
Since
scam
no payment,
artist, a con artist. I'm trying to
all
hit,
of
I'm
the
trying to get
things.
all the words. You left a
hmm
couple.
I'm sure there's more, right? A rake, if you will. Now, since the payment hasn't arrived, Neil's Yard has to report the theft of tens of tons of cheddar, or more specifically, this is around 950 wheels of cheese to Scotland Yard. So they are reporting away. For some context, according to the BBC, this amount of cheese is roughly the weight of four full-sized elephants.
This is proof Americans will measure anything.
And the BBC knows it, so they're like, "Yep, we got to tell them what it is in elephants."
I respect the BBC more and more.
Me too. I was like, "Yes, thank you for that. We needed to know exactly how many elephants of cheese this is." So, on October 22nd, Neil's Dairy Yard comes out and makes a statement to the public, noting that they were, quote, a victim of a sophisticated fraud. The statement goes
Sophisticated?
on
That's just trust. Sorry. Sorry. Carry on.
The statement goes on to say the high monetary value of these cheeses likely made them a particular target for the thieves. The company is now taking steps to ensure both its financial stability and the continued development of the British artisan cheese sector. Now, Neil's Yards then posts the following comments to their Instagram feed because they have one. Of course they do. The quote says, Neil's Yard Dairy has been the victim of a theft resulting in the loss of over 22 tons, or 24 tons if you're an American, of cloth-bound cheddar. Over 950 wheels of Hafford, Westcombe, and Pitchfork cheddar were delivered before the fraud was discovered. Despite the significant financial blow, we have honored our commitment to the small-scale suppliers and paid all three artisan cheesemakers in full. How nice of them. One of these other cheesemaker victims, by the name of Ton Calver, says, quote, "It's ridiculous. Of all the things to steal in the world, 22 tons of cheese?" And then he goes on to say, what it does show, which I'm amazed about, is the value people put on these amazing artisan foods. Like he's shocked that someone would want their cheese.
I'm shocked somebody has enough room for 1 ton of cheese, either imperial or American or whatever, however we qualify it.
Right? Let alone 24 tons? Like, that's huge. That's bananas. By the end of October, the news has gone the news has gone worldwide and is sensational. It's nicknamed the Great Cheese Robbery. And this, of course, does not sit well with anybody, especially the foodies, and celebrity chef Jamie Oliver goes to his Instagram to share thoughts about it, saying, quote, "There has been a great cheese robbery. Some of the best cheddar cheese in the world has been stolen." And then he hops on X, formerly known as Twitter, to say, "If anyone hears anything about posh cheese going for cheap, it's probably some wrong'uns. Who's gonna report the cheese?"
Snitches. Snitches will
Sni
report the
yeah.
cheese.
Well, you're absolutely right. They will. So, obviously, an investigation is underway, and it's pretty clear that these scammers have posed as an agent of this respected French distributor. Like I said, they're renowned in the Europe cheese trade. And the idea of organizing this major like cheese moving event would be exactly the thing that this French distributor would have been doing, so it wouldn't have caught anybody off guard. So of course nobody initially questions when the order comes in. These scammers literally fool everyone right out the gate at every level, like at every level. But in the late in October, the week of like the 28th to the 31st, there's an arrest. It's a 63-year-old man, and he's arrested on suspicion of fraud and false representation, as well as handling stolen goods. The man is taken to a South London police station and questioned, and then released on bail.
He's got
More on
cheddar
that.
underneath his fingers and a bulk of shredded serial numbers in his shoe.
It's got to be what it looks like, right? Um, I lost my spot. Now, oh, excuse me. More arrests are made as we enter into the new year, which is now 2025. One was a 37-year-old man on suspicion of conspiracy to defraud and handling stolen goods. And since then, at least five more men have been arrested, with one that was interviewed under caution. So I don't know that that's an arrest, more as it is just we brought you in for questioning, is what I'm assuming that means. Now, in the meantime, all of them have been released, while detectives from the Metropolitan Police Specialist Crime Command continue with their investigation and inquiries. And all I can imagine is a group of detectives sitting next to another group of detectives. One has to deal with stolen cheese, and one's dealing with like high vice crimes. And they're doing the same job, and that just makes me laugh so hard. Niels Yard Dairy is still working with the police to help with identifying any of the perps and also to recover the stolen cheese, which could have made its way to Russia or the Middle East via the gray market. Yeah, that's the thing.
I gotta say, I knew there was a black one.
Yeah, it's like it's marginally black. Like we're almost the
No,
black market.
margarine is a butter.
Marginally.
I know. I was being, it was
Oh,
my
jeez.
ill-tempted humor.
Your ill attempt at humor. I'm here for it. So earlier I mentioned the cheese tags, which had been removed. And so Neil's Yard Dairy has put out a request to other distributors and those in the market to report any sightings of the cloth-bound cheddar wheels weighing either 10 kegs or 24 kegs, which is respectively 22 pounds or 53 pounds. That said, if you see cheese without its tag, it could have been sold on the black or gray market, and it's illegal. Now,
So the
fun
cheese
is
didn't have tags? I thought they was sold with tags.
it was, but the tags were removed. And I don't know at what point in the investigation, like I don't know if they discovered that they were removed in the depot or at some other point, but they know that the tags are missing from these specific wheels of cheese. And so keep an eye out for Halford cheese missing its tag.
This sounds like there's a literal chop shop,
The
but for
cheese has been
cheese.
laundered.
It's been chopped into smaller bits.
Yes, it's in your Lunchable now.
Yeah.
So, as a fun aside, the BBC says food-related crimes, which include smuggling, counterfeiting, and out-and-out theft, cost the global food industry between 30 and 50 billion a year, or in Great British pounds, 23 to 38 billion. According to the World Trade Organization, these range from hijackings of freight lorries delivering food to warehouses to the theft of 24 live lobsters from a storage pen in Scotland. But a number of these food crimes have also targeted the cheese industry, and in particularly luxury cheese, which is not something I thought I would ever say.
Considering last week I talked about government cheese, luxury cheese
Luxury.
feels like the opposite end of that pendulum.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And so that's my story of the Great Cheese Robbery of 24. It is still ongoing. Investigation is still happening, so I don't know behind it all. But before you ask, there have in fact been other Great Cheese Heists, one in 2026 and at least one more in
One in
1998.
2026, you said?
Actually, 2016. Did I say 26?
I rubbed
I'm
off on you.
projecting. I am projecting for next year. There's
Uh,
going to be a great cheese
Scotland
heist.
Yard, if there's a cheese heist in 2026, you heard it here first. Angie is the ringleader.
We just, I really love cheese. Um, yeah, I don't know that any of them have been named Great as in Grate, but that's the story of the Great Cheese Robbery of 24, and it was inspired by you and my cheese-loving son.
I'm here for
Very.
that. I really am. And now I'm gonna put down the shoe I'm embroidering and I will pull up my notes.
I love this for me.
Okay, so my story comes from a TikTok recommendation because my favorite ones do. This is from a TikTok user named Katie H3138, and I'm going to be telling you the story of Agent Zigzag.
Okay, go.
Excellent. My sources.
I'm
The
familiar with the name.
Okay,
Go.
good. Agent Zigzag, the book by Bing McIntyre, Warfare History Network, Secret Agent Man, The Story of Eddie Chapman by Peter Cross, and a couple of podcasts. The BBC Book Club, Ben McIntyre was interviewed. It's titled Agent Zigzag. And then True Life Spy Stories from Career Criminal to Agent Zigzag. Right. Now, let's go. Um, Eddie Chapman. This is the dude we're going to be working with. He goes by several aliases. I didn't put them in there. Some of his like one of his aliases is like Ed Edwards, which I'm like, okay, could was fake
Okay, Mike or
McFakerson
John
quick,
Johnson.
like. But Eddie
Yeah,
Chapman,
fair.
he's the eldest of three kids. He's born November 16th, 1914, in a small English village of Brunopfield. That's probably not even how you say it. But anyhow, his father runs a local pub called the Clipper Ship. The
Okay.
establishment doesn't do very well because
Bummer.
Daddy Dearest tends to get high on his own supply.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, so he's a bit of an
Okay.
alcoholic,
Okay.
and he is said to drink more than work.
As most alcoholics do.
Problematic. Now, at 17, Eddie does this thing where he lies about his age, forges paperwork, joins the
Hmm.
army.
Good for him. Doing the
Uh,
thing.
he enlists in the 2nd Battalion of the Coldstream Guards. After spending about 9 months in uniform, the collar got a little itchy, and he's granted leave, and he makes a beeline to love or to London, and he starts hooking up with all the chicks he can get his hands on.
Okay.
More
That
important,
collar's itchy, but it has a job.
it he found the uniform chasers and he showed them how it worked. Um,
Hmm.
Even worse, he decides that he's just not going to go back. He's just going to go completely AWOL.
Okay.
And he's eventually arrested. He spends 2 months in a stockade. And then when he's released, he's dishonorably discharged. And he returned to Soho and began his new career as a petty criminal.
Yes. He spent 2 months in the stockade,
Yes.
like stick your.
I'm assuming like Brig.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Um, he goes through a series of odd jobs, working as a barman. He's an extra in motion pictures. He's a dancer. And I'm assuming that
He's
meant
a
like
dancer.
upscale nightclub where he would go and like be paid by the establishment to dance with young ladies to make them stay to buy more drink. That's my assumption. Um,
Okay.
a wrestler, basically anything that gives him access to booze and women.
Oh,
His two great loves
listen,
in this life.
that'll work.
He spends most of his free time at this bar called Smoky Joe's, and he's meeting tons of the who's who of the underworld. Okay, he gravitates quickly to this new arena. It's during the 1930s. He really catapults into his second career.
I love the way you say that. Like it's like it's like saying he's just gonna go do that next great thing.
Yeah,
And I know, but by the tone of your voice, that's not what you mean.
no, no. He's breaking into homes and stealing everything he can get his hands on.
The
Um,
luxury cheese,
the luxury
probably.
cheeses that are just left up on the entry table by the front door. Including like he's also forging checks.
Okay.
Now, for his crimes, when caught, he's given like these little slap on the wrist sentences. Um, and like he serves like a 2 month term for stealing a check and then for fraud. As soon as he's out of jail, he's rearrested for trespassing and locked up for another 3 months. So our man loved three hots and a cot,
When it works,
right?
when it works.
The book refers to him as an honest villain.
The best kind.
Yep. Like the kind of
Honestly.
like truly like okay, so they talk about how gregarious and really charismatic he is, like the kind of guy who could shake your hand, smile, and pick your pocket with his other hand.
Yep.
Okay. Now, during the same period, he joins this ruthless bunch of criminals called the Jelly Gang,
They sound terrifying.
don't they? Now, when I first heard this, I thought that is the dumbest gang name, but they were using a thing called gelignite, which is an explosive.
Oh, so okay, it's just a play. That makes sense.
Yep. So their MO is using high explosives to break into safes.
I love this.
Now, Eddie Chapman refers to himself as a master safe cracker, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say if you're using explosives, you don't necessarily need a delicate hand.
Yeah, mastering that is not it's not the same as being able to like pick the lock with
Yeah,
a
the
bobby
fine
pin
motor
and
skill need,
yeah.
like your
Yeah.
dexterity levels are much different.
Yeah.
So the leader of the Jelly Gang is this dude named Jimmy Hunt. Um, Chapman later will use Jimmy's name when he's trying to fool Germans during the war. So put a pin in that, okay?
Okay.
Um,
Pin in it.
the Jelly Gang proceeds to rob various upscale stores all throughout London. They steal from a furrier named Isabel's, where they steal a number of minks and capes valued at 200 pounds. And this is in the 30s. Next, they go to a pawnbroker where the gang blew up four safes. They steal 15,000 pounds,
Okay.
which I didn't think a
Let's go.
pawnbroker would have that much, when I'm honest. Now,
I mean,
he,
it sort of makes sense. They have to be able to pay you for the thing that you're pawning them.
fair, fair. Now, he loves his work so much. He's so proud of everything that he does that he clips the newspaper articles about himself and the robberies and he files them into a scrapbook.
Dude, my dad did that.
Hold up. Your dad was a
Yeah.
petty criminal?
Yes.
Sidebar, carry on. This is the Angie story now.
Okay, so what I say, I don't know what kind of trouble he would get into, but he was very well, like the young man him, like pre-kids him, like early teens, young adult him,
Yeah.
would get into so much trouble with the local like police and sheriff's department that they knew him by name. And often, from what I'm told, it was like by association. Like he would be arrested because he was in the wrong place at the right time with the wrong group of guys, but he may not have committed that day's crime. But like on more than one occasion, like I remember my grandma telling me one time he was probably 17 or 18. The officer showed up at his door, said, Mrs. Brewer, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna have to arrest your son. Could you get him to come out? And she says, yes, sir. My dad comes out willingly. They handcuff him. He gets in the car, no problem. 2 hours later, the same officer arrives back at my grandma's house and says, dear Mrs. Brewer, I'm so sorry, I need to arrest your son again because my dad hopped the car, ran around for a couple hours, and then came home and took a nap and went back the second time. Like my dad was the real life Luke and Boduk. Like
Okay.
I and so every time he got in trouble in those early years, he would clip the newspaper article that went with it and kept it like his like scrapbooked style kept them.
I mean, honestly, you need to redo your family album and integrate those articles into it.
Honestly, I need to get my yes, it's his Rebel yearbook. You're absolutely right, Jess. 100%.
Hmm.
I will have to try to find him because the articles are hilarious. Like in one, that I can remember off the top of my head. Some friends of his, like three friends of his, were involved in like a petty house theft, and my dad like showed up when the theft was over and had like really no idea that that had happened. But because he was with them, when they heard the police coming, they told him to run, so he ran and was arrested like 3 hours later, hiding under a bush somewhere. And every single time it was like, dude, I wasn't even there.
I mean, but I kind of was, but I really wasn't.
Yeah, every time, like just by proxy, I'm in trouble. But I guess
Oh,
maybe that should be your sign to get new friends.
yeah, yeah, it would be. Okay, so back to Eddie Chapman, Agent Zigzag.
Sorry,
No, no,
I
no.
didn't know there were others like that.
Dude, delightful detour. Happy to have got on it. Um, so Eddie Chapman, his scrapbook, all of that. It's so pervasive that Scotland Yard has an entire group dedicated to the Jelly Gang.
I love that.
Now, before, like, this was when I was doing my own notes, before, you went on, yeah, I knew you were going to have a delightful tangent about this. I put down in my notes, imagine dating a guy and going to his home and finding his scrapbook of crimes. It's like, oh, look, he crafts. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, my mom kept it. That's the only reason I know it exists because I found it once.
Oh, okay. So this is all delicious and I love this all. Okay. We're gonna go to 1939. Eddie Chapman is doing his ne'er-do-well spree, and the police are
Living his
hot on his
life.
trail. Now, members of the Jelly Gang fled towards Scotland, and this is where their luck runs out. They're trying to rob the headquarters of the Edinburgh Cooperative Society, and this is where Chapman and four others are caught by policemen who heard the noise and investigated. Before they can go to trial, the foreman escaped and fled to the wilds of Jersey in the Channel Islands.
Okay.
Now, Chapman's got this huge amount of money on him, and he is now the subject of this huge manhunt across the marshes of Jersey before being captured by the police while he's staying in the Hotel de la Plage. Now, he and his four friends went, but before they went, he grabbed his side piece named Betty, and they're hanging out in the Jersey Island, and they're living large. Like,
Right, because he's got all kinds of
he's
cash.
got all this cash. He sends this letter back home to his girlfriend saying, "Hey, honey,
Okay.
managing something." And the police intercept that. They're like, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're in Jersey? Well, hold on a sec. We can go find
Oh.
you." They go to Jersey, right? Now, the side piece is this woman named Betty Farmer. Um, Betty sees like they're in this hotel at or they're in this restaurant at the hotel. They're having a great time. It's Betty, Eddie Chapman, a couple other members of the Jelly Gang. They see the members of the plainclothes police come in, and Eddie Chapman goes, those look like the fuzz. So he leans over, kisses Betty, excuses himself to the bathroom, climbs out the bathroom window, and she gets picked up by the police, and then he's later busted. Um, but okay,
Please tell me she slapped him when she saw him again.
she comes back. She
Oh,
comes
good.
back. Put a pin in that story. Okay, now,
Okay.
um, this event getting captured by the government, by the police in Jersey, this
The
changes
fuzz.
his life, his fuss, the 5-0. Now, um, June 1940, he's safely in jail. The German war machine rolls all the way through Europe, right? France, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, they're all under Hitler's dominion. Now, the Luftwaffe, they begin to prepare for the invasion of Great Britain and the outlying areas. This includes the Channel Islands. You see where I'm coming. Now, things happen. The Germans invade, they take over the Channel Islands. Now we've got a British citizen locked up in jail, now under German control.
My money's on him.
I mean, your money should be on him. He's fearing for his long-term safety because he's got him and some friends that he's made. He writes a letter to the German authorities in the Channel Islands, and he's like, look, I mean, I've been in here long enough to be teaching myself French. Like, you need me. And I could be a great spy for the Third Reich.
Have you seen this jawline?
Yeah. I mean,
I
honestly,
pass.
I'll
It's
show you
great.
his jawline. It's this man, if your friend said, I met this man on Hinge and showed you the picture, you would be like, okay, kind of cute, but the man is going to be a smarmy psychopath.
Okay,
Like,
it's the exact vibe I've been getting the whole time. Here
yeah.
for it.
Okay. Now, um, so Chapman writes this letter being like, hey, let me spy for you. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Now, um, he later goes on to say, if I could work a bluff with the Germans, I could probably be sent over to Britain. Perhaps it was phony talk even then, but I don't pretend there was no other motives in the plan as I began to turn it over in my mind. They did not occur to me either in the moment or in the mood. So he's like, look, I was just trying to get back home. A con artist is a con artist.
Right.
Now, he makes friends with this dude in prison named Faramis, right? And both him and Faramis were like, hey, yeah, we're in this. We're in this. We're like going to double team the spy bit. It'll be like spy versus spy, whatever it is. Anyhow, they think they're going to do this. Now, they end up they had been arrested on these bogus charges of cutting telephone lines in Channel Islands, which is just weird. They're put on a plane for Paris or a train for Paris, and they have no idea what's going to happen, right? They're taken to this prison called Fort de Romanville, and it's on the outskirts of the city. And Chapman gets interrogated by the prison staff about his various criminal activities because there's a dossier in the jail.
All right. This guy, he's
Yeah.
back.
Now, one of the men interrogating him is this man named Dr. Stefan Grauman, who also goes by the name von Groning. Now, at the time, Chapman and Grauman, they become close friends despite being on very different sides of the war.
Okay.
Okay. Like for whatever reason, these two vibe. Now, um, it's during these sessions that Grauman makes Eddie an offer he can't refuse. He's like, look, I'll get you your freedom and you like cash. You like money? I got lots of money. I'm gonna send
Like
you back to
I don't even know
Britain.
what to do with the money I got.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
we've got real money, we've got fake money.
We've got fake money that looks like real money. Um,
I will get into that. Now,
I'm so excited.
he's like, we'll send you back to Britain. We're gonna train you with, all the stuff German intelligence can, and we're gonna send you on some clandestine missions. Um, And Chapman, he's like, look, I see a chance to get out of jail. This sounds like a great deal for me. I could act as a spy. I'm not going to necessarily actually do it, but pretend. So he's like, I'm going to take this offer. It's once in a lifetime. I'm going to do it for the lore.
Good for him.
Now, he's like, what about my man Faramis? Oh, no, no. We're going to keep him here so you act right.
Yep, okay. I mean,
So Faramis eventually gets sent to a concentration camp. He survives the war. I'll just float that out there. And then Chapman's taken to a new training facility in Nantes, France. And he is living the high life because the Germans want to make this man loyal unto them. So champagne, multi-course meals. He's also trained in the fine art of espionage, wireless contrapt or operations, hand-to-hand combat, and secret ink.
ooh, okay, okay.
Now, he's training under 3 months under the direction of Lieutenant Walter Pretorius. Now, he's got a
Okay.
couple other names. I'm just anyhow. But Chapman basically becomes like adept at all of these things, and he's ready for the next step in the German war. Now, at one point when in the book, when he's learning parachute jumping, he lands on his face
As you
and
do.
jacks up his teeth, ends up having to have like I think $6,000 in 1930s money poured into his face,
Ooh,
like
ooh, okay.
multiple gold teeth. And people are like, we're gonna throw this in for a Brit. Like we've already spent too much. Take him out back and shoot him. Like we don't need this.
We can get other ones.
Yeah. So he's making enemies just because of the amount of money that the Reich is spending on him. But those teeth come in handy because unbeknownst to everybody, uh, the German signals are being intercepted by Bletchley Park. And they hear about this person who goes by the code name Fritchen or Little Fritz, who has gotten gold teeth, who's gotten all this stuff done, who's going to be infiltrating Britain. And so there's like, okay, okay. Now, Chapman never knows about Bletchley Park and everything that they've learned about him, but put a pin in that.
I'm so far building one of those crime boards
You
because of the
should be
pins you've
with
given me.
like all of the strings going everywhere else.
Yeah.
Now, as I've kind of mentioned, the unbeknownst to the Abwehr and Eddie Chapman, the British know all about his plans to enter England. They don't quite know his actual identity, but they know his code names. They know where he's going to go. They have an idea of his missions, and they're able to decipher the encryptions that are coming through. Now, using their 20 committee or the double cross organization, the British are able to turn German spies who operate against their former masters under the penalty of death. Most of these spies cooperated with Britain to save their own lives. Surprise, surprise. You know, they're going to do what they need to do to save their hide. So
This checks.
Chapman jumps out of a plane, buries his parachute, gathers his belongings, and like basically races to the first farmhouse he can get his hands on, scares the hell out of this farmer and couple who most likely don't believe that he is indeed a downed RAF pilot.
Right, okay.
Now, he turns himself over to local police who call Secret Intelligence Service. And this is where Chapman tells him a story about being recruited by the Abwehr. And he's like, but I could turncoat and work for you guys instead.
I'm actually bored with them. Like,
They only give me champagne and take me to all the brothels when I'm bored.
yeah,
I
I've
mean,
seen them all.
I want a good English lady. Now, he is sent to a secret installation dubbed Camp 020, and this is where all the German agents are kept. Now, it's not near as luxurious as where he had been in Nantes. The official name of this location is the Latchmere House. It's a large, rambling home in Ham Common in West London, and it's here that Eddie would be taught the intricacies of British tradecraft. And then,
Okay.
so they're like retraining him in their stage, right? Now, he tells his interrogators that his primary mission given him by the Abwehr is to destroy the de Havilland aircraft works. And this is the aircraft works that's making the Mosquito airplane.
Okay, I was gonna ask. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Now, the Mosquito's made of wood. It makes it very light, very fast, extremely maneuverable, and it pisses Hitler off.
Most things do.
Right. Um, and he's told to blow up the facility. And so the
As you do.
British, they get help from a magician named Jasper Mescaline.
I'm sorry, did you say magician?
I did.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just checking.
Yes.
Okay.
And this magician goes in to help Chapman pretend that he blew up the mosquito factory. Mescaline came from a family known for magical talent. Now, it's during the war that he basically does a ghost army move. He
We love a
helps,
ghost army move.
yeah, he helped the British fool the Germans by hiding the Suez Canal.
I'm sorry, that wasn't your story?
I got distracted.
Okay.
Okay.
Carry on. Do
I
go
know.
on. I'll shut up.
I put a pin in that because that could be the next one. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mescaline worked closely with various components of the British military, including the Air Ministry's camouflage session. Ugh. The military's nope. The Air Ministry's camouflage section. And
Yeah, I
so
think you have to say it like that.
I had to really rock into it. Now, they create a false set of explosions that when the German reconnaissance aircraft flies over, it actually looks like it. Like they're painting tarps to put over everything. They're doing small explosions. Like they're ghost armying it, is really what they're doing.
Okay, so just to recap, so I know I'm following the right
Yeah.
way. He is hired by the Germans to destroy this compound where they're making these mosquito gliders,
Yep.
and he makes it back to Britain turncoats, and now Britain's ghost armying to make it look like he's done his job.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Now Chapman does his part and he sends a message to the Abwehr using the prearranged code that had gone well. He writes FFFFF, Walter blown in two places. And when Grauman hears the good news, he sends a congratulatory message to his favorite spy. To completely fool the Germans, the British arranged for false news items about the destruction of the factory to be published in the London Daily Express.
Yes.
Now, the paper reaches Grauman via Lisbon, and he reads with interest of how well his master spy has done. You're not ready for the next sentence,
Or should I sit on my hands?
would you? For his exceptional work, the German government awarded Eddie Chapman the Iron Cross.
Damn it! I just ah.
He is the only British man to receive the honor.
Of course.
His Chapman's supervisors and teachers at Camp 020 are some of the most important members of the British Secret Service. Each one of these humans needs their own episode. We have Colonel Robin Ten Eye Stevenson. He's known for the
Ten
monocle,
eyes?
Ten Eye singular, because of the
Okay,
monocle that he wears, reportedly
got it.
even in bed.
Perfect.
Captain Ronnie Reed, who is an expert in wireless radios. And Ronnie Reed in the book is described as so benignly average looking that you could lose him in a crowd. He was like the quintessential spy because he was so not noteworthy.
Okay, sometimes that's so useful.
But that's not how you want somebody to describe you.
No, but I could see how it'd be useful.
Right. Um, there's one British officer who wants nothing to do with Chapman, and he comes into the story at the end, but I couldn't find a logical way to weave him in, so here we go. And his name is Dr. Michael or Major Michael Wright. Um, he's, I guess, technically like Chapman's handler, but they hate each other so intensely and instantly,
Sometimes you just vibe with somebody and sometimes you don't.
right? Like Wright hates the fact that Chapman gets bored and says, I need you to take me to brothels because I'm tired and bored and lonely. And Wright is like, but my upstanding puritanical heart says no.
I am the son of Oliver Cromwell. We don't
It,
have Christmas.
that's basically what's happening here, right? So they both like really just don't jive. Now,
Okay.
Wright
Should be
wrote,
funny that by the end of the story, they're like best mates.
no, they're not. Nah, whatever. Um,
Okay.
Wright writes to a man named Thomas Robertson, who babysat Chapman through his latter stay in England, quote, the Zigzag case needs to be closed down at the earliest possible moment. Oh, I should have mentioned. Chapman is nicknamed Zigzag or Agent Zigzag because he was so good at crossing that he could just cross back at the other moment.
Right, right,
Like,
right.
yeah. Now, when Chapman, I've mentioned this maybe once or twice, Chapman loved the ladies, loved the
Oh, no, I
ladies.
forgot that you said that.
Um, when he went to Jersey in the first place, he was dating this woman and he knocked her up. He'd been living with her and he knocked her up. And then he gets
Okay.
put in jail and all that kind of stuff. Well, she ends up having a baby. And he ends
In
up never,
Guernsey?
what was that? No, not in
Was the woman
Jersey.
from Guernsey? Oh, okay.
No, this is the one in London or in or in
Gotcha.
the
On
main
the
island.
mainland. Yeah.
Now, um, when he goes over to Norway for with the Germans, he falls in love with this Norwegian woman who ends up being a part of the Norwegian resistance named Dagmar Lalem. And
Okay.
he ends up just falling head over heels in love with this woman. He later confides to Dagmar that he's a British agent, and she ends up keeping this to herself. And they would do this thing where he knew he wanted to give the British information about all these military installations. So he would take his young, hot girlfriend, have her pose in front of these military installations, take pictures of her, and then send those pictures.
Right, because nobody's going to question you taking a picture of a pretty girl.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Now, the girl back home that he got knocked up, her name's Frida. They have a baby named Diane that he ends up not meeting until she's like 3. When he goes back to Britain, he ends up saying, I need to find Frida and Diane. I need to see my daughter for the first time in my life. She's already a toddler, this, that, and the other. This is absolutely insane. Okay, because I should say first he sees Frida and Diane when he's in
Okay.
Britain and he goes through the training. He's like, I'm a double agent. I need to find my baby and my baby's mama. Um, he is living in a house with members of like the police force with MI5 coming in to check on him regularly and
Okay.
his baby mama and baby.
Okay.
They are paying for his upkeep.
Of course they
When
are.
when Germany says we need you to come back here, he tells MI5, I need you to take care of Frida and the baby and give them monthly stipends so they can live. And MI5 says, bet. So he goes back to Germany, does more
Okay.
training there, is sent to Norway, is partying over there, sleeping with this nice hot woman, sending pictures back to MI5. Then he's going to get put on a mission back into Britain. So he tells the Abwehr, I've been taking care of Dagmar. I need you guys to put her up and give her a monthly stipend.
So he's got like, oh my God. Okay. Carry on.
This man has bro or hoes in different area codes and makes various governments pay for them.
I love this for him. Good for him.
I mean, it is just like, what? Now, remind me to circle back on Betty Farmer, the woman he abandons in the hotel,
Yeah.
because I'm gonna hold on to that one real quick. Um, when the Abwehr tells Chapman to return to Germany, the British government goes, "You have our blessing. Godspeed."
Do the thing.
Yeah. And so he goes spend some time in Oslo, Norway, and that's where he meets Dagmar. And he ends up taking the money that the Germans gives him, and he buys a yacht. He learns how to sail it.
Okay. Yeah.
And at one point, he offers his services to kill Adolf Hitler by exploding a bomb when they attend a rally, because he's chatting with von Gruning. And Gruning offers to take him to a rally. And Gruning has no love lost for Hitler.
Right.
And so, Chapman's like, well, basically, I could kill him. Well, I could take you to a rally if you want to lob a bomb at him, kind of deal. Now, with all of that going on, when Eddie Chapman told Ronnie Reed, one of his handlers in England, about it, it was Ronnie Reed who was like, ooh, I would not do that because you're gonna die. You're gonna die no matter what, even if you're successful or not. Chapman responds, ah, but what a way out. Like Chapman is just like, do it for the lore. Do it for the
All of it.
lore.
Every bit of it.
Now, Winston Churchill is told about the Zigzag case, and Duff Cooper, who is the leading member of the British intelligence establishment, he said he had discussed the case of Zigzag at some length with the Prime Minister, who showed considerable interest because this is Winston Churchill, who loves ungentlemanly warfare,
Yes, he does. And we couldn't love him more for it.
right? Now, 1944, Grauman or von Gruning, same, it's the same person, tells Chapman that he's going back to England for another intelligence mission. Now, the Abwehr still doesn't know that he's a double agent. And it's under this next assignment that he's going to learn about Britain's latest efforts to attack the German U-boats. Because the German U-boats are going down so hard and so fast, the Germans are afraid that they've got some special radar, maybe in planes, maybe like there's something happening. And they're like, we need you to go through and figure it out because we're losing too many. Now, he's also told to report on the effectiveness of the V1 buzz bombs or the doodle bugs that are just wiping out London.
Okay.
And what is happening is when he gets back to London, and he tells, the MI5 what's happening, what his mission is. They realize that they could give false drop coordinates about what attacked to start leading them further away from the center of town.
Okay.
So by continuing to say, oh, well, this blew up, they keep moving these bombs further and further into the countryside,
Okay.
which really just shows how effective this man was.
Yeah. And how
Now,
brilliant like British intelligence is in the first place. Like,
truth, truth.
yeah.
So Chapman makes it back to England June 29th, 1944. He's dropped by a German plane over England near the town of Cambridge, and he ends up making his way back to local police. And Chapman told his handlers about his new mission and, like, hey, look, I've got to get all this information about doodlebugs. Let's work together. But now he's super irritable, very tense. He wants to go back into Paris. He wants to do undercover operations, and MI5 vetoes it. And they decide, Chapman's basically more trouble than he's worth. We should just end it all completely. Just cut ties, It's been fun. It's been real, but it has been real fun. And in November of 44, he's informed that his services are no longer needed, and he's left with 6,000 pounds in cash from the British and 1,000 pounds that remained from the money given to him by the Abwehr. Grauman failed to hear from Chapman after several long months of waiting, believing that his prize agent had either been killed or captured.
Unfortunate on their part because he's probably just laying on a beach somewhere.
I mean, you say that. After the war ends, he returns to his career in crime. He's
Of
really good
course he
at it.
does.
Um,
He's really good at it.
he dabbled in black market activities. I didn't
Selling luxury cheese.
probably. He's running protection rackets in London, and he joins up with some of his old pals from before who kind of landed him in jail in the first place. Now, he remember Betty Farmer, the woman he left
Hmm.
at the hotel when he was arrested?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about her.
He joins back up with her. They have a daughter named Suzanne. She's born in October of 54. And he illegally transports gold across the Mediterranean and buys a share of a ship called the Flamingo, which is used for a whole host of illegal activities. And in the 60s, the family moves to South Africa.
Of course they do.
Now,
Of course they do.
in 1966, Eddie writes a memoir called The Real Eddie Chapman Story, and he's got to leave a ton of info out because telling everybody what really happened would be violating the Official Secrets Act.
Hmm.
And this is heavily impressed upon him.
That's why Meiji Carriella's never said anything.
Truth. So when the book comes out, it's kind of a flop because it doesn't have enough detail to make it sensational and bombastic. So it just kind of like, really, this sounds like a half-hearted
Mm,
lie. Um, but his story's made into a movie called Triple Cross, starring Christopher Plummer. And Agent Zigzag dies in December of 1997 at the age of 83. But his files are declassified in 2001. There's 1,500 pages of reports.
I want to read them all.
Well, and it's partly because of that declassification that Ben McIntyre was able to go through, find them, and write this book. And in
Right.
one of the interviews, he said that because these reports were written by government for government, under the assumption nobody will get to see this, they are so truthful.
That's so fun.
Yep.
It's so fun.
But that is the story of Eddie Chapman, aka Agent Zigzag.
Thank you for that. I
Mhm.
loved every second of that. And I'm still trying to figure out what side he was actually on.
I have a feeling he like, and this is something that like the book really grapples with. Basically, what Ben McIntyre's under the assumption of is that Eddie Chapman was primarily on the British side, but he was on Eddie Chapman's side.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I've been getting. Like, I'm on whatever side's gonna pay me
Right.
because I'm Freddie Chapman. Yeah,
Yeah. Like
I want to know what happened to the first girlfriend and Dagmar and everybody else
Dagmar
that he.
Dagmar never like Eddie Chapman promises to go back for Dagmar. He never does. And so she ends up never having a very solid relationship after that with anybody else.
Gotcha. Fair.
Um,
Okay.
as for Frida and the baby, they end up getting, like, I think Frida marries somebody else after the war, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going from memory now. And the government continues to give Frida a monthly check for like
That's
years,
awesome.
which
That is
I
such
love
an
that.
oversight. I love it.
But yeah, but at least he went back to Betty, but apparently was fiercely unfaithful throughout the entirety of their marriage.
Shocking.
I know.
She should
But
have seen that one coming, I think.
at his daughter's wedding, he invites von Gruning. Like they are friends. Like to the point where like,
Please come to my daughter's wedding.
yeah,
What a whack job. That is hilarious. And this was his daughter got married in the 60s. She was born
I
in 54, so probably the 70s.
maybe, yeah. I mean, I didn't write down when the wedding was,
Either way, that's nuts. That's so
right?
funny. Gross.
I know. I know.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, World War II spy. Surprise, surprise.
I'm shocked. I'm shook even.
Well,
My gabbers are flaccid.
if you need your gabbers flasted occasionally, or you want to have, the shock wipe and astound you, you should rate, review, subscribe. Join us next week. Send this to somebody who also loves World War II spies, even if
And
they don't,
cheese.
and cheese. And on that note, goodbye.
Bye.